If you're like most people and you need to improve your hip rotation mobility, then check out this unique exercise I've got for you that's going to do just that. Yo, what's up? Coach E here from Precision Movement, and I'm here with another installment of New Movement Mondays, where I'm teaching new techniques to improve your mobility and that will contribute to your movement longevity. Because personally, I am training, exercising to ensure that I am able to move well now and improve my performance now, but also so that I'm moving well when I'm old, gray, and more bald than I am right now. So this video, this technique is going to work your hip rotation mobility. And before we get into it, I'm going to dive right into it. But before that, just let me know, why do you want to improve your hip rotation mobility? I'm just curious on the different goals that people have coming in here. So let me know in the comments below so I can take a look, see, and maybe create some videos based on some of the goals that I see in there. Okay, so the technique I've got for you today is called the supine dynamic hurdler. If you've seen the hurdler stretch, the classic running stretch, that looks like this. Okay, stretching the hip. This hip is in internal rotation, and you're stretching the external rotators because the end range you're at is internal rotation. The muscles that are lengthened there are the external rotators. So that's what's getting stretched. Most people as well are going to get some joint capsule stretching in there as well. Okay, so that's the classic hurdler stretch. The supine dynamic hurdler looks like this. So you're gonna start in that hurdler stretch. Now, when you're tight, your leg is gonna be popped up off the ground. Don't try to force your leg down as hard as you can to start. You're gonna loosen up as you go. From here, you're in the prone position, arms out, try to relax. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep your heel as close to your butt as possible. So fire up those hamstrings, and then you're gonna lift, slide it in, and then go into external rotation. Okay, so you just do a couple light mobilizations here at first. Don't use too much tension anywhere. Internal to external rotation of the hip. You're also going from horizontal, this is horizontal flexion plus internal rotation, to horizontal extension, also known as horizontal abduction, and external rotation. For my fellow movement nerds out there who like the accurate kinesiological, biomechanical terminology. Okay, so just mobilize it a little bit, nice and light, not too much tension to start. Few reps, 3, 4 reps, 5 reps, and then we're going to get into working the technique here. Okay, so same thing. You can start an internal rotation. Now, when you're here, what you want to focus on is when you're at the bottom of the range, instead of focusing on lifting the knee and opening up the knee into external rotation and horizontal extension, the first motion at the bottom is thinking of lifting the foot off the ground. Okay, keeping that heel close to the butt so the hamstrings are on. You're going to lift the foot off the ground without opening up. And then you're going to hold that for 2 seconds. 1, 2, and then go into your external rotation and horizontal extension. Get to the end range. Again, drive that knee, but keep the foot just off the ground and drive the knee down, 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 down for 2 seconds, and then hit the ground. And then drive the knee a little bit more, using the ground as kind of like a lever to get a little extra range, okay? Hold it there for 2 seconds. Okay, again, from here, you're just gonna lift the foot off the ground without moving my knee in space. It's not easy. Hold it there for a couple seconds. Keep the heel close to the butt the whole time, and then rotate. This is hard. Keep the foot off the ground for a couple seconds, and then hit the ground, use it as a lever, and drive yourself into a little extra range there. 2 seconds, and then lift the foot off the ground. First motion, foot off the ground, hold it for 2, and then rotate. Okay, so there's 4 points where you're holding it there. I'm rotating, driving the knee to the ground, keeping the foot off the ground, and holding 1, 2, and then foot on the ground, drive the knee a little further, actively, 1, 2, and then same position. Foot off the ground, 1, 2, rotate, foot off the ground, drive the knee, 1, 2, foot on the ground, knee to the ground, 1, 2, foot off the ground. Keep the knee where it is in space, 1, 2, and so on. Okay? That's the supine dynamic hurdler. And once you add those little holds in those 4 different positions, it takes this technique up to a whole new level in terms of intensity, difficulty, and benefit to you in terms of improving your hip rotation mobility. Okay? Because we're building strength in that end range. We're not just going into a passive stretch and just hanging out here, and the brain is not into it. We're not building any strength. So any range that you do get, your brain is just going to tighten you up because you have not built any strength there. And that is when you have flexibility in a joint, but you don't have the strength there, you have instability. And instability is a precursor to injury. Okay, and that's across any joint in your body. All right, so that's the supine dynamic hurdler. Obviously, you're going to do that on both sides. I'll do that when I'm done. You don't have to watch me move my hips around here. But that is a technique that's really, really going to work for you when you apply it. Okay, how to apply this is you can use it in your warm-up, just real light like I showed you, maybe a couple of the more challenging versions with the holds as an activation. But you want to use this 2 to 3 times a week for 2 to 3 sets, doing 3 to 5 repetitions on each side. So 1 repetition would be if I'm starting here, that's half, that's 1, okay? So you do that 3 to 5 reps. Don't count the holds as any reps or anything, just 3 to 5 reps with the holds already in there. And that's going to work to improve your strength, which will result in improved mobility. A couple of key points. Make sure you're breathing. There's going to be a huge tendency to hold your breath, especially in the holds and internal rotation there that are it's such a foreign place. People just tense up and stress out. That's completely normal if you do that. As you practice it and get better, work on your breathing, being able to breathe through those intense, challenging holds. The other thing, keep the knee straight, the opposite knee. That one's locked out, so we're locking out the pelvis nicely and focusing on this hip that you're working, whatever side it is. So opposite knee, stay straight, and then remember, heel as close to your butt as possible. Get some hamstring in there and increase the hip stability and the work going on at the hip as well. Okay? So hip rotation, super important. If you don't have it, your knees are going to suffer. They'll probably take the brunt of the damage, but your spine, your lumbar spine might also suffer as well. And if you're lacking hip rotation, make sure you check the links at the end of this video to my hip control course. I'll put it down in the description as well, so you can find it easily. And check that out. It'll really help if you've got locked up hips from years and years of sitting around, neglect, or just doing your standard strengthening exercises. Okay, so thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of the new Movement Mondays where I'm sharing unique techniques like this to improve your mobility and your movement longevity. And I'll see you next time. Peace.